Image, Nikola Jokic pulls down a rebound every Monday. We'll look back over the previous 7 days of NBA action and identify who the stars have been, so who had it going on week 15 of the NBA season. Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets. You often hear the sporting cliche about coaches having an ace up their sleeve, but wouldn't you rather have a joker? Either way, Denver are certainly glad to have the big Serbian as part of their pack, and he makes it onto our list despite missing one of the games this week through suspension. That's how good he's been. The reverse pick-and-roll dynamic of Jokic and first-choice point guard Jamal Murray is one of the true joys of the NBA, as the big man delivers crafty passes on time and on target consistently, with the small man shouldering the responsibility of finishing at the rim. And they can happily reverse roles without any problem, as Jokic also has superb handles, a gorgeous floater, a confident three-point shot, and tons more tools in his arsenal besides. 253, Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic posts great numbers against the Philadelphia 76ers. The fact he's the antithesis of the typical big man is the product of a late growth spurt which saw him play as a point guard in his formative basketball years, and that has the 23-year-old allowed to beguile and dazzle opposing defender at the top level from the center position. Jokic has been a joy to watch since he came into the league, the 41st pick in the 2014 draft, not a typo, and this year his numbers have reached the kind of levels that make him pretty much a shoo-in to become Denver's first All-Star since Carmelo Anthony back in 2011, and this week Jokic has been an unstoppable force in both games that he played this week for a Nuggets side which is flying in the Western Conference, 33-15, second behind only Golden State. Who's leading the East? Who's leading the West? Jokic bagged a triple-double on Saturday night against the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was without his chief partner in crime Murray, and as the NBA's top rebounder this week, averaging 30 points, 19.5 rebounds and 8 assists across the 2 games. In the midweek match against the Jazz, Jokic left the bench during an altercation between Derek Favors and his backup Mason Plumlee, causing the league to suspend him for Friday's game with the Phoenix Suns. A shame, because if he'd faced the struggling Suns those numbers might have been even better. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Milwaukee Bucks. Image, Giannis Antetokounmpo shows off his incredible leaping ability to finish over the Oklahoma City Thunder defense. The Greek freak is in the running for the MVP, and it's truly on merit. He's the fulcrum of a much-improved Bucks team which has the best record in the NBA and can get to the rim almost at will, regardless of what obstacles are in front of him. 130, Giannis Antetokounmpo scores 34 points with 14 rebounds, 3 assists and 3 blocks versus the Hornets. Antetokounmpo almost single-handedly inspired the Bucks to come back from an 11-point deficit in the final quarter of Friday's clash with the Charlotte Hornets. By the end, he'd outscored Charlotte on his own in the fourth as they clinched victory 110-107, most of those points in the paint. But it's not just that which gets Antetokounmpo a mention here. The player was also awarded the honor of being the Eastern Conference's All-Star captain. Image, LeBron James, right, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's a prestigious accolade, particularly for a player who's still only 24. Steve Kerr, Golden State Warriors. Image, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr. Now, the trouble here is, when will the Golden State Warriors coach feel like he isn't winning the week, or the month, or the year for that matter? But it's been a particularly good week for Steve Kerr and the Warriors, with the team flying, having won 10 straight, and the continued integration of their 5th All-Star DeMarcus Cousins gaining traction by the week. Image, Steve Kerr introduces DeMarcus Cousins into a game for the Warriors. This now marks the 6th consecutive campaign where Golden State have managed a run of 10 or more wins on the bounce, tying a league record set by the San Antonio Spurs. The toughest test the Warriors have had in a while came in the shape of Boston on Saturday night at the TD Garden, especially considering that they are still in the initial phases of integrating Cousins as he continues to build back from a serious Achilles injury. 251 highlights of the Golden State Warriors' visit to the Boston Celtics in Week 15 of the NBA. The fact that Golden State sided out 115-111 in ice cool fashion down the stretch, even in a hostile atmosphere, must have made satisfying viewing for the coach. And it also brought up an impressive personal accolade as Kerr became the fastest coach in the history of all U.S. professional sports to reach the 300-win milestone. Image, Stephen Curry's play has Coach Steve Kerr smiling. It has taken the former point guard just 377 games, with the next closest being former NBA coach and now Miami Heat president Pat Riley, who took 416 games. No doubt a satisfying achievement for him personally, and it looks like his Golden State machine is just beginning to fully test the revs with an all-star cast of starters. James Harden, Houston Rockets. Image, James Harden laps up the adulation of the Toyota Center crowd. No stranger to our list, James Harden is back on here once again, and it's undoubtedly on merit. Harden continues to bear the scoring and playmaking mantle for a pretty ordinary Rockets roster which he's helped lift to 5th in the West. Want to watch the NFL or NBA on the Sky Sports USA channel? Upgrade here. Harden leads the way by a huge margin in scoring for the week and sits joint 4th in assists, demonstrating just how pivotal he is for the Texas ball club. Nobody else is averaging above 30 points per game, whereas Harden is on 36.3, with 8.2 assists in 37.4 minutes across 4 games. 204 James Harden tied the record for most points scored by an opposing player at Madison Square Garden by dropping 61 points for the Houston Rockets over the New York Knicks. The Beard hit an NBA season high of 61 points in the victory over the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden, and then followed that up by inspiring his side to victory over the talented Toronto Raptors and a come-from-behind win against the Orlando Magic on Sunday. He hit a pivotal one of his trademark step-back three-pointers in that one as he lifted his run of consecutive games scoring 30 points or more to 23. That kind of production and output from a single player is staggering. Chances are if Harden was forced to keep this up for the rest of the regular season that he'd be burnt out come playoff time. But that's where the other half of Harden's good week comes into it. Image, Chris Paul is high-fived by a teammate. Fellow backcourt all-star Chris Paul is back after 17 games out injured, and he will shoulder some of the scoring and definitely some of the playmaking responsibilities. Mike D'Antoni should now be able to rest Harden for longer stretches in games, particularly against some of the league's poorer teams, and the 29-year-old will now have the pleasure of rekindling his on-court partnership with Paul, one which took them so close to the NBA Finals last year. Want to watch the NFL or NBA on the Sky Sports USA channel but don't have Sky Sports? Get the Sky Sports Action and Arena Pack. Click here.